Thank you so much, Afifa, for that kind introduction. Members of the faculty, distinguished guests, family members and friends of you, the graduates, and of course you, the 2020 and I understand to some extent the 2021 graduating class of the University of Michigan. It is a privilege and an honor, believe me, to be your commencement speaker, and I am humbled to be receiving an honorary degree from this distinguished university. I thank the Board of Regents and President Coleman for bestowing this honor on me. Now, I no longer feel like an outsider when I get carried away looking at the basketball and football games on TV. And when I say go blue, now I'm legitimate, right? So, seriously, I've had the privilege of delivering multiple commencement addresses over the many years. And not uncommonly, I refer to my own graduation from college, and I tend to draw certain analogies between the past and the present and illustrate that we have shared a common experience. Now, clearly, that does not readily apply to your class. The profound ways that COVID-19 has disrupted your student years, as you've heard from previous speakers, are unprecedented. Otherwise, why would we be celebrating the graduation of the class of 2020 and 2021 in May of 2022? Viewing the overall situation from my vantage points at the National Institutes of Health and in the White House, each of you deserves enormous credit and respect, and I mean that, for your extraordinary adaptability, your resilience, your dedication to learning, completing your studies, and graduating despite immense difficulties and certainty. So I say with all sincerity that I am in awe of you for that. And so, while my college experience was quite different from yours, I just would like to briefly reflect on certain issues that have been important to me since my graduation many years ago, and that still might be worth at least considering as you leave the University of Michigan. First, expect the unexpected. Planning and charting one path in life is something we've all done to a greater or lesser degree. You've actually already done that to some extent by choosing this extraordinary institution of the University of Michigan for your education. However, in my own experience, some of the most important, impactful events or directions that I have taken have been completely unanticipated and unplanned. You are at a virtually totipotential period in your lives. And so please, keep a completely open mind and do not shy away from dreaming impossible dreams and seizing upon unanticipated opportunities. Let me describe an example of such a completely unanticipated challenge and opportunity that profoundly impacted the direction of my career and, in fact, my entire life. After graduating from medical school and following years of residency and fellowship in 1972, I began a journey as a young clinical investigator at the National Institutes of Health. Over the next 9 years, I progressed to what was considered by many as a very successful, safe, and comfortable career in investigative medicine. My future seemed settled. Then, in June of 1981, 41 years ago next month, I remember quite clearly sitting in my NIH office, reading in a report from the CDC about a handful of cases of an unusual pneumonia among gay men in Los Angeles. 1 month later, 26 additional cases of gay men from Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York City with not only this unusual pneumonia, but also other rare infections and cancers were described in a second CDC report. We did not realize it at the time, but we were witnessing the evolution of one of the worst public health scourges in recent memory, the HIV/AIDS pandemic. I became totally enthralled with this mysterious new disease that did not yet have a name, much less an etiologic agent. I'm still not sure to this day what drove me to do this, but I decided right then and there to make an abrupt change in the direction of my career, abandon my successful research pursuits, and investigate the pathogenesis of this mysterious new disease. My mentors were horrified and insisted that I was making a career-ending mistake and this disease would amount to nothing. However, the ultimate emergence of the AIDS pandemic and my decision to pivot and devote my efforts to this unexpected public health challenge transformed my professional career, if not my entire life, and put me on the path I am to this very day. Now, obviously, not every opportunity or challenge that you encounter will influence your careers or your lives, or be as dramatic as a mysterious infectious diseases outbreak, that's for sure. However, please believe me that you will confront the same types of unpredictable events that I have experienced, regardless of what directions your careers or your lives take. And so, expect the unexpected and stay heads up for an unanticipated opportunity should it present itself. Now, you need to listen to others who care about you, but at the end of the day, go with your own gut. It can be rewarding, exciting, career and life altering. Next, leadership. You are graduating from a most extraordinary institution. The very fact that you were chosen to be part of this outstanding class, in my mind, puts somewhat of a burden of responsibility upon at least some of you to assume leadership roles in our society. It does not necessarily have to be designated leadership. Leadership can evolve from a variety of experiences, and it takes many forms, including the quiet and subtle leadership of example. Which brings me to my next issue, which actually applies to everybody in this stadium: our divided nation. I've spent my entire professional career in Washington, D.C. as a scientist, a physician, and a public health official. Although that career path is fundamentally devoid of politics in the classic sense, being in Washington has allowed me to experience firsthand the intensity of the divisiveness in our nation. What troubles me is that differences of opinion or ideology have in certain circumstances been reflected by egregious distortions of reality. Sadly, elements of our society have grown increasingly unfazed by a cacophony of falsehood and lies that often stand largely unchallenged, ominously leading to an insidious acceptance of what I call the normalization of untruths. We see this happen daily, propagated through a range of information platforms, social medias, and so-called news organizations. And sad to say, certain elected officials in positions of power. Yet, the outrage and dissent against this alarming trend has mostly been muted and mild. If you remember nothing else from what I say today, I truly appeal to you. Please remember this. It is our collective responsibility not to sink to a tacit acceptance of the normalization of untruths. Because if we do, we bring danger to ourselves, our families, and our communities. This is how a society devolves into a way of life where veracity becomes subservient to propaganda rather than upheld as a guiding principle for creating and sustaining a just social order. And so, as you graduate and take the place in the wider world that will be yours to shape, do not shrug your shoulders and accept the normalization of untruths. Because if you do, lies become dominant and reality is distorted. And then truth means nothing. Integrity means nothing. Facts mean nothing. Our country will not thrive if we allow or do not push back vigorously against moral ambiguity. Seek and listen to the opinions that differ from your own, of course, but critically analyze information, what you have learned so well to do here at the University of Michigan, to discern and challenge weak assertions built on untruths. As future leaders, we are counting on you all for that. In closing, I've been speaking to you over the past few minutes about the serious issues that we are facing in our current world. And so, putting the serious business aside for a moment, I want to close with a reminder about the joyousness of your life to come and what a bright future you have. Allow yourselves to cultivate this joy as much as you do your professional accomplishments. Find your source of joy and happiness and fully embrace it. And think upon your future as that's stated by the American political theorist John Homer Shaw, and I quote, "The future is not some place we are going to, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found, but made. And the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination." Congratulations to you, to your families and your loved ones. Good luck, God bless you, and go blue.